2022 is over, and we've picked our 10 best tips that we put out on YouTube for 2022, and they're here for you to watch. All skill levels, all age ranges, you all can get better from these tips. Let's go! Tip number 1 is gonna be easiest way to whip a dirt bike. All right, so the first step in learning how to whip is gonna be understanding good standing body position going off the face. You have to be solid in this. Do not try to whip the dirt bike if you're not solid in your standing position. So I'm quickly gonna go over it. We have plenty more videos where you can find this. You want flexion in the ankles, you want knees in the middle of the bike squeezing, you want hips turned out, flat back, head down. So you wanna be in that good neutral position before you take off from the face. So, all right, so the first step in body position going off of the face of the jump is understanding that we just need to move weight to whatever side we feel comfortable to. So what that's gonna look like is you're coming off the face of the jump and then you're just slightly moving head and shoulders to the inside of whatever the handlebar side you feel comfortable with. So I'm coming off the face of the jump. As I'm going up the jump, I'm just going over here, and then I'm gonna try to keep knees in the middle, and then once the bike flicks off the top of the jump, it's gonna flick in line with my body, it's gonna float, and then ideally come back. So you want this motion as you're turning throttle going off the face. You want head and shoulders to move to one side or the other to get that bike to move in the air. Tip number 2 is gonna be how to not crash your dirt bike from our Friday Fails episode. That's CR125 here. Where's he going? Not a wooden ramp. He's got the hips tucked under. Oh no, don't take the feet off. Please don't take, okay, he's got the feet back on. Don't fall off the back and hit whiskey throttle, please. Hold on tight, hold on tight. Oh wow. You know, everything happens bad after midnight. No, just kidding, on the jump face. So, as you guys can see, he's got a round back, his hips are tucked under, his knees are up towards the gas tank. That's all bad. And you can see that smoke blowing out the back, and even though you might not be able to hear it because it's slow-mo, he's heavy on the throttle. So, when he gets in the air, the head drops back immediately. You don't want the head to drop back ever, especially when the front end's up right away. That's a steep jump face. And then he just never recovers. A good rider would click the back brake here, get that front end down, and he just froze up like a statue. Tip number 3, learn when to sit and stand. Okay, there's 2 very important things there. You sit in the corners, you stand on the bumps and jumps. Remember that. Stand on the bumps and jumps. That's all you need to remember. There's no bumps and jumps in the corner, typically, so you make sure you sit the corner, stay on the bumps and jumps. You got it? Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Did he say sit or stand? Was it stand or was it sit? I'm gonna sit. Oh, my testes. Oh, goodness. Try it again. Oh! Tip number 4, biggest piece of advice for a beginner rider, is you're gonna be scared a lot of the time that you ride the motorcycle, but that's totally okay. In the beginning, the fear is probably gonna be a little bigger, right? I think what everyone needs to understand when they're talking or thinking about riding dirt bikes is we're only born with 2 fears. Fear of loud noises, fear of falling. Dirt bikes give you both of those, right? So they're kind of fighting against our natural fear system, if you want to call it that, right away. So you have to learn to ride the bike correctly. You have to learn in the right environment. You have to take your time. You have to have the right friends teaching you or helping you. You have to do the right amount of studying. You know, our YouTube channel is a great platform for that. But tip number 5 is going to be talking about the best environment to learn in. Make sure that you don't ride a track first and you start in something safe like a field. And what I mean by that is don't get on your 300 and go straight to hitting jumps and bumps, right? Okay, you understand? I'll teach you a little something about jumps and bumps. I'll teach you something, right? All right, Albert, we're in the field, okay, brother? Good? Yes, 100%, that's what I'll do. I know Coach said not to, but man, this track looks like just a hot brownie on a warm Sunday. You know what I mean? Whoa! Whoa, the brownie is too hot. It's too thick, I can't do this. Okay, here we go. Oh, the testes again. Oh, my neck. I'm gonna jump this thing. Oh, I'm going off the side. Tip number 6, standing position. So what I was noticing for you, you're getting a little excited and going fast. Rule number 1, don't go fast, remember that? When you did that, you countered your balance the complete incorrect way. Can anyone raise their hand and guess what the biggest mistake in the history of standing could be?
Leaning back under acceleration?
Yes, but you gotta, what causes that?
Body position.
Close? Think down low, think down low.
His knees started, yeah.
Knees drove forward, head went up. Okay, so we gotta think about if we become this plank on the bike that's just moving forward with the power, what do? We take all the weight off of what? The back. Okay, so we accomplished a goal, which was counter the power and not let the bike throw us off the back.
it is definitely not the most efficient, right? But when we take and tuck our hips under and our head gets upright and we just move that whole thing forward, we have nothing to control the back tire, right? But when we keep our heels dropped down and our knees in the middle of the bike and our hips stacked over that shock, what do? We push the shock, push the weight down to the back tire. And we counter it by moving the head forward down low. And so we spread out on the bike and we make a stable bike.
Tip number 7, how to case and not die. Hills, 2-stroke. Oh my gosh, 2-stroke to yoga headstand. Okay, that wasn't great. That actually follows up the last one where I said don't land both wheels, and then how the front or the back tire will kick you over the front. Let's see if we can break it down, see if you did anything wrong in the air. Coming off the jump face, that all looks pretty good. I think the only thing I would change, we case this front wheel first. That's literally all I would change. I think he's pretty decent. When the front tire is just about to get over the knuckle and go to the downside, the back tire is going to rebound and kick. So you want to drop that front tire down on the front side of that knuckle so it just bounces down the hill. That's the only thing I would change. Tip number 8, how to beginner scrub.
First thing we're going to work on is the motion. You have to have really good jumping mechanics already. So if you don't have that, make sure you work on that. But the second thing is you need to understand when the jump face comes, you're meeting the bike at the top of the jump face. What I mean by that is you're going down, knees are breaking forward, chest is coming forward. You got to also think that we're at an incline here, so we want that head to be over the front, and as we get to the top of the face, we're meeting at the bottom, and then we're letting the bike float back in front of us in the air. So it's kind of a rowing motion, and then the bike floats back in front of us in the air. And what we're trying to do here is let less pressure go into the suspension so we get less rebound. This is the first step in understanding how to scrub, is understanding that we're really just trying to lighten the load on the suspension so we don't go higher. All right guys, step 2 here is understanding what jump is the right jump to start this on. Ideally you want a jump face like this that's long. This is a tabletop on the other side so you can practice working up to your distances, but you don't want anything that's super abrupt because you're really working on body meeting bike, and body has to meet bike really fast when it's abrupt, and it's meeting it on the front of the bike. So a lot of times you'll get a kick when you're first learning how to do this if you're doing it on a short and steep jump face. So you want something that's really long, gives the bike time to compress, gives you time to meet the bike, and that's mellow on the top. Make sure you can land on top, drive off the end. You definitely don't want to hit that short, steep jump face and get the old huckabuck. We're gonna work on what are we doing in the air and on the landing. And a lot like whipping, we're gonna be loose in the air with our body. So we're gonna basically meet the bike at the top of the jump, and then we're gonna let the bike kind of just float back in front of us, but also attach when it gets in front of us. We don't want it to float away from us. We wanna soak up and row back into a good attack position so we can land on the gas in attack position. Even if we jump a little sideways, if we land on the gas, we're likely just gonna drive forward out of that. So you've got from start to finish, you've got letting the bike meet you at the top, relaxing in the air, landing on the throttle. That'll be your third step. Get to scrub, and this is a really fun step in learning how to turn and scrub, and we'll have another video for that.
Tip number 9 is a special. It's a 3-for-1, 3 tips in 1 for sand riding. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below on how you like this video.
First tip we're gonna talk about is you have to move your weight back. Right, if you go from a hard pack track and you go to a sand track at home or wherever you are in the country, you have to think about 6 inches back on everything. So 6 inches back on your seated position, on your standing position, all of the things that you would normally do, you just want the weight back 6 inches, okay? The second thing is, unlike riding on hard pack dirt, you have to get on the gas early in the corners, right? The more time you're off the throttle in the corners, the more time you have for the front end to dive and want to fall. So if you get into a berm and it's nice and sandy, you want to be on the gas right as that berm starts, and you want to crack the throttle just a little bit and roll on easy. You don't want to ever get in there and break the wheels loose even more than they already are. You got to understand, sand is not stable, so we got to create stability with good smooth throttle. Another thing, the third thing that we're going to talk about is opening up your corners and creating flow. Anytime you have sand, you don't ever want to try to steer the bike tight, right? Hence moving back on the seat. When we move back on the seat, the bike wants to steer longer. So we want to make sure that we open our corners up and we set the whole track up in order to have good, long, wide corners. If you can have a good, long, wide corner and you crack the throttle early and keep it steady, you're going to have a nice, flowy arc. If you go in there and try to knife it, a lot of times the front end's going to wash out and you're going to hit the deck. It's just, there's no way around it. You can't predict what's in the dirt. You can't predict how deep it is. You can't predict the lines that have been developed underneath it before you. You've got to make sure that you ride real wide.
One of the best riders that I've ever seen ride in the sands, a little old guy named Ricky Renner back in my day in Florida, and he was very good at staying light in the corners, meaning he would come in, get on the gas early, but not get on the gas hard, stay up on top of the sand, and create really good exit speed by having good corner momentum. Tip number 10. 3-for-1 arm pump tips. All right, so the first drill that you're gonna wanna do is gonna be seated one-handed drills. The idea here is to learn how to be stable in the lower body, strong in the core, and also move forward with the power and back under braking. If you can accomplish those things, then you're gonna reduce how much tension, how much strength you have to use in your arms, which is ultimately gonna relax these babies. All right, so the second drill that we're gonna work on to reduce arm pump today is going to be standing one-handed. So it's going to be a build off of what we did with our seated position, just understanding how to be in balance standing. We know that we're standing 80% of the track most of the time. In the desert where these guys ride, maybe sometimes even more than that. So if we're efficient with our balance standing and braking, we're going to be in a good spot of not using our upper body a lot. So we're going to get right into it. All right, so we're on to our third drill. One of the most important drills on the planet is going to be the paper plate drill. The paper plate drill is where you stand in perfect position, you slide 2 paper plates in between your knees and the bike, and you squeeze them and hold them until they fall out. If they fall out, you know that you let your knees loose enough for the wind to take them out. That, in this case, is an automatic 10 push-up. This is gonna make you stabilize down low, build strength in the inner thighs to keep strength on the bar, keep tension on the bike, and relieve tension from the arms. Reduce that arm pump. We are on a world tour for camps right now, and we're trying to come to where you're at. So make sure you get on our email list. You can get that down in the description below here, or check out the mxfactory.com to see what we already have on the books. And always leave us a comment to tell us where you want us to go. We hope to see you guys in 23.